Would the world be safe without police officers? Unlikely. These brave men and women wear the badge and work tirelessly to protect our rights to life and property. However, their duties often place them in perilous situations, risking their daily lives. Tragically, some encounters are so dangerous that officers lose their lives in the most heartbreaking ways. Here are the 5 most disturbing police officer deaths of all time. Lieutenant Colonel Arnaud Beltrame, at 45, had dedicated over 2 decades of his life to the French military. His unwavering commitment and exceptional service saw him rise through the ranks, earning the prestigious Cross of Military Valor, among other honors. His career was marked by bravery and a profound sense of duty, making him a celebrated figure in the military. In August 2017, he assumed the role of deputy commander at the Carcassonne Departmental Gendarmerie Unit. Situated in a tranquil medieval town rarely troubled by major incidents, it appeared Arnaud sought to peacefully wind down his career after years of being in the thick of the action. However, less than a year after he joined the unit, life took a different turn for him. On March 23, 2018, Arnaud encountered the terrorist Redouane Lakhdim, who was linked to the Islamic State of Iraq and the Levant. That morning, Lakhdim had hijacked a car from an unsuspecting driver who was going about his daily activities. During the process, he injured the driver, killed the passenger in the car, and then dumped the body in the bush. But that wasn't all. Lakhdim also shot at a group of policemen who were out jogging, injuring one of them as he thought they were onto him. After hijacking the car, Lakhdim drove a short distance to the small town of Trebes to carry out his sinister plan. Armed with a handgun, a hunting knife, and 3 homemade bombs, he stormed into the Super U supermarket, shouting, "I am a soldier of Daesh," a moniker for the Islamic State. Within moments, he killed 2 more people, including a customer and a store worker, before taking the remaining people in the supermarket as hostages. Arnaud and a couple of other police officers were the first to arrive at the scene after concerned individuals reported the ongoing incident. They made contact with Lakhdim, who demanded that authorities release Salah Abdeslam, the only living suspect and alleged mastermind of the 2015 terror attacks in Paris that left 130 dead. During the standoff, Arnaud and his colleagues were able to negotiate the release of the hostages, except one. Lakhdim had held back the person left behind as a human shield while he waited for his primary demand to be met. Disturbed by the woman's fear for her life, Arnaud decided to take action. He had trained for such moments in the past and believed it was best to swap himself with the woman. He then volunteered to be exchanged for her, not thinking about the fact that he was risking his own life. As the exchange occurred, Arnaud left his mobile phone on a table inside the supermarket, keeping the line open for police outside to monitor the situation. The standoff remained tense for several hours, but after 3 hours passed and Lakhdim realized his demand might not be met, he stabbed and shot Arnaud. This prompted the police tactical unit to wait outside to storm the supermarket, resulting in Lakhdim being shot and killed. Despite sustaining severe injuries, Arnaud was still alive when rushed to Carcassonne Hospital nearby. However, in the early hours of the following day, he succumbed to his injuries. Autopsy reports later revealed that Arnaud had suffered 4 gunshot wounds from Lakhdim, but it was the stab wounds to the throat that proved fatal. Following the incident, claimed responsibility in a statement via its Amaq news agency, stating in Arabic that a soldier of the Islamic State carried out the attack in response to calls to target the coalition countries. Investigations later revealed that Lakhdim had been on an extremist watch list due to his radicalization and connections with the Salafist movement, a hardline branch of Sunni Islam. However, he was not monitored closely at earlier points as he had not indicated imminent action. Arnaud's act of bravery earned him tributes from around the world. French President Emmanuel Macron described him as demonstrating exceptional courage and sacrifice, and that he died a hero by giving his life. The late colonel was also posthumously awarded the Legion of Honor, and many cities announced plans to name streets, squares, or buildings in his honor. On December 12, 2022, what began as a routine missing person report in New South Wales escalated into a harrowing tragedy in Queensland, Australia. The event, now infamously known as the Wiambilla shooting, claimed the lives of 2 dedicated police officers, Constable Matthew Arnold and Constable Rachel McCrow, along with a courageous civilian, Alan Dare. This tragic incident has left a lasting impact on the community and underscored the inherent dangers faced by those who serve to protect. The chain of events began with the disappearance of Nathaniel Train, a former principal at 2 schools in New South Wales. He was last heard from on October 9th, raising concerns for his well-being from his family members. The situation then became even more complex when Nathaniel's estranged wife, who reported him missing, revealed that she had been receiving threats from his brother, Gareth Train. Gareth resided in Queensland, which meant the New South Wales police officers had no jurisdiction there. Consequently, they contacted their Queensland counterparts to conduct a welfare check on him and his wife Stacey regarding Nathaniel's whereabouts. They also instructed them to follow up on a warrant related to a December 2021 incident involving illegal weapon disposal and a potential border violation. However, the seemingly routine welfare check escalated into a deadly confrontation when Constable Matthew and Constable Rachel arrived with 2 other constables at the location. Upon arrival, they discovered the entrance to the property was locked and no one was in sight. They jumped the fence and approached the main residence to see if anyone was home. Seconds after they reached the residence, they were ambushed by a hail of bullets fired by the occupants within. During the surprise attack, Matthew and Rachel were hit multiple times. One of the other officers, also wounded, escaped to raise the alarm, while the last officer quickly hid in the nearby bush. After the barrage of shots, the assailants emerged from their hiding spots. They were no other than Gareth, Stacey, and Nathaniel, who had been missing. The evil trio approached Matthew and Rachel, where they lay injured, and then fired additional bullets into them in an execution style to ensure they were dead. They subsequently removed the Glock pistols on Matthew and Rachel and began searching for the officer hiding in the bush. Unable to locate the hidden officer, the assailants set the bush on fire to force him out. At this moment, Alan Dare, a neighbor of Gareth and Nathaniel, approached to investigate the fire. Tragically, his concern sealed his fate. Upon seeing him, the killers ruthlessly shot him, ending his life without hesitation. The officer who managed to escape returned with multiple specialist police officers, leading to a 6-hour siege at the residence. In the end, Nathaniel, Gareth, and Stacey were all killed, while the officer who had been hiding in the bush was rescued. Subsequent investigation into the incident established that the shooting was a religiously motivated terrorist attack targeting police. It was concluded that Nathaniel, Gareth, and Stacey acted as an autonomous cell subscribing to a broad Christian fundamentalist belief system known as premillennialism. In honor of the fallen officers, the police union decided to buy the rural property where they were killed to serve as a memorial site. Additionally, the incident prompted the proposal of a national firearms register to help keep Australia's first responders and community safer. For over a decade since joining the Waterloo Regional Police Service in 1989, Constable David Rodney Nicholson has exemplified dedication and service to the community. Throughout his career, he became a vital member of the Emergency Response Unit. He excelled as a police diver with the Underwater Search and Recovery Unit, showcasing his commitment to public safety and specialized operations. He was expected to locate and retrieve bodies, evidence, vehicles, and other objects, such as weapons, from underwater environments and conduct underwater rescues in cases of drowning or accidents. On the evening of August 12, 1998, the Underwater Search and Recovery Unit received a call to rescue 10-year-old Mark Gage, who had disappeared under the water at the Park Hill Dam. Mark had been swimming at the dam with his friend when he suddenly vanished. After over 30 minutes passed without any sign of Mark resurfacing, his friends, concerned that he might have drowned or that his life was in grave danger, quickly reported the incident to authorities. Dave and fellow constables Rob Sove and Curtis Rutt were dispatched to the location to help. Upon their arrival, Dave donned his diving gear, including a scuba tank, and then jumped in to begin the search. He started around the last place Mark was seen, then extended his search to other parts of the dam. When he began searching among the jutting wall abutments of the dam, he was sucked inside the sluice due to the dangerous underwater currents and eddies created by the abutments. It was believed that he found Mark here, with the prevailing theory being that the boy had also been pulled into the sluice. Despite his wealth of experience, Dave couldn't attempt to swim out of the sluice, as he discovered that his scuba tank got wedged in a hole when he was sucked in. To save himself and possibly the kid, he sent a distress signal through his lifeline to Rob and Curtis, who were waiting above. Following standard protocol, the duo attempted to haul Dave back up using the lifeline. However, the current proved too powerful. Even when over 50 bystanders and responders tried to help, they could still not overcome the water's fierce grip. Dave's lifeline was cut during the process, ending the possibility of being hauled out by his rope. At the time, there remained hope that Dave could still be rescued. Sove, one of his partners, bravely entered the dam to assess the situation and provide a new lifeline to Dave. Unfortunately, Sove was also drawn into the sluice, but unlike Dave, Sove freed himself and resurfaced while gaining crucial insights into Dave's predicament. He made 2 further attempts to dislodge Dave from where he was stuck, but regrettably, both efforts were unsuccessful. In another desperate bid to save Dave, Rut, his third partner, plunged into the water with a scuba tank secured to a long pole. However, as Rut neared Dave, the powerful current ripped the tank from the pole, swallowing it whole. Undeterred, Rut surfaced, retrieved a guide rope, and with a Herculean effort, managed to secure it near Dave. Yet another devastating twist of fate unfolded. When Rut and others tried to pull the line up, it became clear that Dave's regulator hose was snagged. This fatal entanglement severed his air supply, leaving him unable to breathe underwater. Within minutes, Dave succumbed to drowning. Dave's tragic death marked the first officer fatality in the 25-year history of the Waterloo Regional Police Service. His body, along with that of Mark, was discovered 3 days later, with Dave cradling the young boy in his arms. Since his passing, Dave's unwavering dedication and selfless heroism have been fondly remembered. "38-year-old Dennis Eric Guerra came from a family dedicated to law enforcement. His father was a retired New York City Police Department officer, and his mother was a retired school safety agent. Naturally, Dennis chose to follow in their footsteps. He began his career at the NYPD as a school safety agent, before becoming a Rikers Island North Infirmary correctional officer. 2006, Dennis returned to the New York Police Department to serve as an officer. Over the next 8 years, he made more than 70 arrests in the line of duty. However, on April 6, 2014, Dennis tragically lost his life due to an event sparked by the impulsive actions of a teenager. On the afternoon of that day, Dennis and his partner, Rose Rodriguez, were dispatched to a New York City Housing Authority building in the Coney Island section of Brooklyn after concerned individuals called the authorities about a possible fire outbreak. Upon arriving, they discovered the fire was on the 13th floor of the building. Rather than taking the stairs, the duo decided to use the elevator, thinking it would get them there faster. Unfortunately, this seemingly wise decision turned out to be a critical mistake. As Dennis and Rose stepped off the elevator onto the 13th floor, they were immediately overcome by heavy smoke and carbon monoxide fumes. Had they taken the stairs, they would have encountered the smoke gradually and recognized the danger before moving further. Despite Dennis and Rose calling for assistance, it was already too late from the moment they stepped off the elevator. The smoke and fumes disoriented them and made breathing increasingly difficult. When members of the New York City Fire Department arrived, they found Dennis and Rose unconscious and unresponsive. CPR was immediately performed on both detectives to renew them before their transfer to a local hospital. Both were in critical condition upon arrival, with Dennis in particular going into cardiac arrest 4 times. Unfortunately, 3 days later, he succumbed to the injuries he had sustained during the fire, even though he was transferred to a more specialized hospital for treatment. Meanwhile, Rose ultimately survived, but sustained lifelong respiratory injuries. Following the incident, investigations uncovered that 16-year-old Marcel Dockery was responsible for igniting the fire. He confessed to setting a mattress ablaze in the hallway out of boredom while awaiting his cousins to open their apartment door on the 13th floor. Those same investigations revealed that Marcel had a troubling history of fires. At age 13, he was involved in an incident where he created a makeshift blowtorch using a lighter and a can of hairspray in the school cafeteria. Photos from the scene of his bedroom showed scorched walls and piles of used matches. Initially, federal prosecutors charged Marcel with first-degree assault for setting the fire. After Dennis died, a second-degree murder charge was added to his case. Despite being offered a plea deal of 22 years in jail, Marcel chose to go to trial. Ultimately, the trial concluded with a verdict of 19 years to life, with an additional 2 years added for an unrelated robbery charge. The sentencing was received positively by those who had shown up every day for the 2-week trial. At Dennis's funeral, he was posthumously promoted to first-grade detective and awarded the Medal of Honor the following year. In tribute to his bravery, a street in New York City was renamed in his honor. On January 5, 1983, 25-year-old Alistair Anthony was walking his dog along the Blackpool seafront while on vacation. Being a tourist, he was unaware of the sea's powerful waves, which often posed risks even to expert swimmers. During the walk, Alistair's dog had headed recklessly for the sea in pursuit of its ball and quickly began to drown. Confident in his swimming abilities, Alistair immediately jumped in to rescue his dog. While wading along the seawall apron, a wave swept him off his feet. He then managed to swim to a nearby concrete slope, but struggled to find a way out of the water. An anonymous individual who witnessed Alistair struggling in the water called the authorities. Shortly after, Angela Bradley, Gordon Connolly, and 2 other officers were dispatched to the scene to attempt a rescue. They arrived with a promenade lifebelt, intending to provide it to Alistair so he could use it to return to shore. However, as Angela and Gordon attempted to reach him, they were tragically swept away by the strong current and crashing waves. 3 people were now lost in the water. Still, emergency officers on the scene believed a rescue operation could still be feasible for some of them. At this point, road traffic officer Colin Morrison arrived at the scene and joined the rescue attempt. However, like Angela and Gordon before him, Colin was swept away by the sea, intensified by a strong westerly gale. The conditions were so severe that the lifeboat from neighboring Fleetwood, which had been summoned, took 3 hours to reach the area. Upon arrival, the waves remained too powerful, allowing them to approach only within 68 meters of where the officers had last been spotted. Amid the dire situation, a 4th officer, PC Pat Abram, bravely jumped into the sea to continue the rescue attempt, but quickly found himself in danger of drowning. Fortunately, his colleagues managed to throw a rope around him and pull him to safety, where he received immediate mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. With previous rescue efforts having proved futile, the chief superintendent, who was kept informed of the unfolding events, reluctantly issued an order prohibiting anyone else from entering the water to prevent further loss of life. When the waves finally subsided, Colin's body was recovered by a winchman lowered from a helicopter. Several days later, Angela's body was found on a sandbank at Presall. Alistair's body was discovered at Knot End 9 days after the incident. Gordon was the last to be seen, with his body recovered just days before the end of the month. All 3 cops were honored with a memorial plaque within Jubilee Gardens, Gin Square, Blackpool.